Axis Esports. This is the best of 3 match that we will be casting.
Yep.
Of course, as we move forward, Axis will be going up against
Team Guzu.
Team Gosu.
Team Gosu.
Yeah, and then
from United States.
And lastly, that's Candy Comeback going up against Burmese Ghouls. And then, of course, this is a round-robin format. Everybody will play each other. So that's going to be Gosu versus Team Candy Comeback in the
of course,
match.
For our prize pool, we do have $250,000 US, and the champion will take home $80,000
US.
Lot of money,
cash.
lot of cash, of course.
This is probably the biggest, tournament of Mobile Legends in the whole globe.
The entire globe.
Because this is indeed the first iteration of M1.
Yep.
This is the first iteration of the World Championship, but of course, compared to other tournaments in the whole world, this is the biggest one for Mobile Legends.
And of course, if we're gonna talk about the round robin format, and if you are gonna think about it, you only need 2 zeros. You only need 6 wins.
Yeah, technically
if you get 4 straight, 6 points, and if you get 4 straight wins, you will immediately go to the top 2.
That is exactly what happened with RRQ, because after winning back-to-back series, they did get the berth, or the qualification to the playoffs.
Yeah, but a lot of things can happen still. I do feel that this bracket right now has an even playing field.
Yeah.
Right?
This is Burmese Ghouls and Axis Esports, and then you have Team Gosu with Candy Comeback. If you watch their games, very interesting. They're actually pretty strong. Like, for example, Candy Comeback, they did not even lose in their finals. And even in their upper bracket finals, in the qualifiers.
But of course, you have Burmese Ghouls, who was in MSC back in June. So of course, in terms of experience, they do have the advantage right now. But again, Axis Esports will not back out.
For sure.
Of course, they will show up, and in terms of gameplay and play style, they do have this aggressive type of strategy, especially in the early game.
Yeah, I think we will recap what happened yesterday.
Yep.
Very excited to see this for sure.
Right.
I think we have a recap.
Evos, but look at that go. Vin's gonna go in with the No Man's Blast, casting over onto 3 members with a flicker as well. Hurricane Death playing onto the face, and now RRQ. And now here comes the team fight as well, forcing it on to the Turo. But Liam in the middle of it all, it will be Rex is going to open up. WPL opens up the Hurricane Death, but will force them away. But Liam somehow is still alive. T-Man going for the Hurricane Dance. He's gonna connect on one here. He will get this in here, but that's gonna be how good. And a big smash. Ultimately, coming Romana connects on the dot, but Bobby getting used.
Then again, uses goes to try to get away, but T-Max again with another zone. Broly just gonna dance right in with the Esmeralda, but he gets picked off by the Archive. Great Hurricane Dance from RQ.
Getting all of these wops.
But they did punish the hand this time. The first battle is going to be used. They take out the Kaja this time. Alternate Inferno completed by the task, but the Kimi is here. The Grok falls, but it doesn't matter.
Taking down one, ladies and gentlemen. Here comes another Sandman Force, and that is a V from the map. And what? Nice block coming in from the Grok.
Quite a bit of damage here, but on the backline, High Loss is going to be the first blood of choice. But Watt is so out of position with the rest of the team to back him up and push EFF into their jungle.
Blast.
It's going to be AOK, but Watt might be going down. He manages to survive. The Revitalize is enough to keep him up. High goes down instead. Shower, allowing the rest of the team to go, but they're going to try and clear this last wave off before they have any opportunities left. Impunity might be able to hold on a little bit longer, but Deck is not having anything. Gato comes in. T-Max to force that flicker away and look at Hyde. He's getting chunked up by the Minotaur. That will be first left for the Valor as Lucky Strat. In between and down PL, the next one to
defense coming in from Evil's SG. They're gonna play for behind, but VFM on this East raid is Vietnam written all over the scoreboard, and they will survive.
Was that or it was?
That is a three-man knockoff. The spear is real coming in from the Grok. And as we say this, Mr. Wolf, this is the easy part.
And I guess this is RQ to secure the 2-0. They're still playing with their foot, but this time though, a lot of very interesting matches in there. You saw that very close matches between EVO's SG versus Impunity KH. Or I mean VEC.
And of course, for you guys to catch every action, and if you want to stream like Cray, get unlimited data for all apps with Giller Unlimited GX30, only with U Mobile.
Of course, M1 World Championship is brought to you by our official sponsors, U Mobile, of course, live stream by YouTube Gaming, and of course presented by Moonton. It's gonna be our first match, Burmese Goals and Axis Esports.
But before we go to that, I think we do have our top 5 plays. Yesterday.
Of the Lord, and they're already in form right here, committing to his fight. Is this the fight for their lives? And all 4 members are still left intact, only one leaving behind. But Tiny here is going to chunk down Soul. Soul still alive after that flicker, but Broly will make sure that they will stay dead. And look at it, last incident come from Tiny as well. This might just be the game, and it will be BFF fighting all the way with Xiao. Oh my goodness me! It will be a maniac for the Esmeralda as we see
PH, hashtag word.
Hashtag Ward, let's see, because they do have the man. The Zaman Force is gonna clip onto the Claude, and the Claude goes down, make a kill. Can they get the second one? Dams will have to run away from this angry, and I guess this is RQ to secure the 2-0. They're still playing with their foot, but this time, what will fall? That is gonna be the Chango down for the count.
That is the last hit coming in from the Synchro Fission. This is again the ultimate from the Batang.
Oh my goodness.
Hitting 3 heroes.
Ivo here just for the bonus damage. He's trying to break the fight against ATEV. ATEV, he's pretty much stuck here. Can he run? 2 bars gone. TD, this is gonna be his third fight of all. A flicker. Where is he running? Where are you running? Here comes Hawkeye. Where's the stun? Where is the Hurricane Dance? He points the tower and he gets the kill. That's like a
company lurking. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes the Zaman Force. The Glorious Force is there. That is the last hit from Team RQ. Blazing to it to get 3, and this is a 2-on-3 fight, and who is the drop block? But here comes I Am Jago and Sin. The solo 2 player is in Malaysia. He will die inside the base, but 3 heroes did die from Impunity Kingdom.
Fight, but he decides to go, and it looks like that backline is going to have a lot of trouble. T-Max, he's taking quite a bit of damage here, but on backline, high loss is going to be the first blood of choice, but watch, it's so out of position. The rest of the team come back to do their
Numenor blast.
It's going to be A-OK, but watch, Mike 3 going down. He manages to survive the revitalize, enough to keep him up. High goes down instead. Impunity win.
Those were the top 5 plays of yesterday's group stages. Lots of action.
That is lots of action.
Lots of action.
You see very clutch moments, like for example, that very clutch retribution to steal the Lord. Well, that was the reason why RRQ actually regained their momentum in that game. And then you also saw that clutch revitalized move
from the Hylos.
It was the Hylos who put it up, but it was Esmeralda to actually step in there, which is amazing. That's what.
Yeah. And we did see Sin with a worthy play.
Yeah, the worst.
Diving onto tree, the hashtag worst.
Hashtag worst play.
And all of these Grok spears, the Grok block, and that is just day one.
That is just day one.
That is just day one, guys.
I'm sure there will be plenty of action for today. In our first match, it's going to be Burmese Ghouls versus Axis Esports.
Let's do it. I'm so pumped. I'm so excited to see this one. Both of these teams very aggressive in the early game. They do like to pick the Cho.
Both of them,
Both of them. So I do feel that in our new meta right now, we do have the split strategy. I do feel that there's going to be a lot of confusing skirmishes or misdirection.
Yeah. So what,
in this game.
What you're talking about is that there will be a lot of split pushes.
Yes.
That will be enabled by having this misdirection plays.
Yes, of course. The Cho is very similar to the Masha in terms of going for the split and probably going for one-on-ones.
Yeah, so what it does is you go for a hero that will stay in lane and just push constantly and then maybe take a turret or two.
Take a turret or two or just probably fight.
Probably fight. But I think we have the match.
Here we go.
All right. The draft for game number 1, it's Axis Esports again versus Burmese Ghouls on the blue side. That's Axis. They hail from Malaysia and they will be fighting against Burmese Ghouls hailing from Myanmar.
And they immediately eliminated the Kufra from Burmese Ghouls. Again, the early game potential for that Kufra, the early game CC, they are negating it right now. And they're probably setting up for a good mage here that can have an easy time in the mid lane without this Kufra.
So the thing is, Team Axis Esports, they're from the MYSG qualifiers. Well, actually not the qualifiers, MYSG MCL, and they have qualified for N1 after placing 4th place during the whole playoffs. So they lost against Resurgence after a very close 2-1 victory by Resurgence during MPL Season 4 of MYSG.
But again, you can never be sure if it's Mobile Legends, man. Right now, Burmese Ghouls banning the Kimi, removing the early jungle invade from Team Axis Esports.
Yeah.
What is the answer to this? Chango is open. And there you go, the classic Kaja Kufra ban, the double K.
The double K.
The double K.
So now, Burmese Ghouls should be considering banning out the Grok this time or the export. And of course, Axis Esports, whoever gets a chance to take that Grok or export for sure will get it. So Axis Esports definitely will be considering and hinging their lineup onto that first pick.
Let's see, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we're live in YouTube Gaming. As you've said, Xborg, very high ban rate, especially in day number 1. I think we have not, we did not see any Xborg highlight plays.
Yeah, because Xborg is usually banned. We only saw Xborg once.
Yep.
That was, of course, Harith is going to be the choice. So this is interesting for Burmese Ghouls, right? Because they know that the first pick belongs to Axis Esports. And instead of giving away one of the 2 top bans like the Grok and the Export, they chose to give both so that they will open it up. This means that Axis Esports, they will have to choose this time. Is it going to be the Grok or the Export or the Hylos?
Yeah, the Hylos is what I've been thinking right now. It is very successful. Yesterday, just baiting out skills and then using the Glorious Pathway to get away. And sometimes they do layer it with the Revitalize. Yeah. So, but as you said, it's the export. So, Axis Esports, they do have the security of sustaining the side lane, especially having the Firaga armor. on X-Borg.
Sure.
Grok.
That's X-Borg, and of course the Grok, like we said.
It's an answer.
It's either X-Borg or Grok, and Burmese Ghouls will have it. Now, Hylos is there.
Yeah.
It is available,
Hylos.
and it will be picked.
There you go.
Exactly.
Your team is
Prediction,
picking.
100%.
Prediction 100%. So, you have the Grok, you have the Hylos. What is the main counter? Probably
Carry, of
they
course.
will pick true damage, carry,
carry.
or a Lunox.
Should be carry.
Should be carry right now.
And then you go for maybe a Thanos.
Another support
Oh,
or
no.
Another sustain lane. I think it should be a support.
You kind of need attack this time, so it probably is the Akai for Axis Esports so that it will not be banned by Burmese Ghouls. Or maybe get their mid laner this time. Like you said, the Lunox is available.
Yeah.
Maybe they will consider Chango this time because they are afraid of it, but of
I
course.
think, more damage.
Carry.
More damage.
Your team
And this is scary.
picking.
Because Axis Esports now investing into the late game for this carry and this Lunox. The more HP you have, the harder the damage it gets.
Yeah, I think that they will consider the Chango this time because it might be banned out.
Yeah.
So the idea here is Burmese Ghouls should look for a Durance carrier. And definitely Chango is one
It's
of the
one of
best
those.
one
It's
of those candidates to actually hold the Durance. And it makes a lot of sense this time.
Your
And you
team
know what?
is banning.
Imagine we have predicted
We have
everything.
predicted everything, man. 100% predict
100% prediction.
predictions since yesterday, bro.
Since yesterday.
Since yesterday, we're on a roll right now. Okay, so what do they ban? For Team Burmese Ghouls, the Masha and the Granger is still open for the taking.
So
I think if they want that cover up type of play style, they do want this, but that is dangerous because again, 8% magic damage from the Lunox
Based on the HP.
based on the HP, the Lunox second skill, plus that percent damage, the 4% extra proc from the true damage from the carry is
Your
their
team
main
is
tool
banning.
to deal with this Masha pick or probably the Grok pick and of course the Hylos in the front line.
Yeah.
So for Team Axis, they will ban out the last remaining late game hero, which is the Claude. So the Granger is the only one left
Maybe.
as the S tier marksman.
Granger makes a lot of sense for Burmese Ghouls. I think they will consider banning out a tank this time. Like for example, get the Akai out or the Lolita.
The Lolita,
So that it will not be available for Axis Esports to get because they can counter it. Another option is the Baksha, which we saw yesterday. Which kind of is good against the Burmese Ghouls, but instead they're going to go
Your
and ban
team
out the
is
Valier
picking.
this time.
Okay, so I think they will go all in. The main problem for the Valier here is that it can negate an immediate dive because of the pushback of the Searing Flames.
Yeah.
They will probably go for an assassin right now or a fighter still to match up with the Glorious Pathway mobility.
Jawhead.
Okay,
Wow.
there you go. There you
Your
go. That is a
team
fighter.
is picking.
It's a Jawhead, so they will go for pick-offs right now.
They will definitely go for pickoffs this time. Axis Esports, they will go for Lolita. Lolita makes a lot of sense against the Chango. But what I like about this is
Lolita.
Joy is actually an answer to the Lolita. We will explain later. Masha is going to be the pick.
Your
So the
team
idea
is
here is,
picking.
imagine, when
Okay.
you go for the Jawhead, you go for the ejector.
Yeah.
When you put the ejector up, the Lolita Bulwark will be negated. It's automatic. It will be cancelled.
It
That's
will be-
because
yeah.
of the knockup.
Yeah, because of the knock-up, and plus, I do feel that the Jawhead is a good substitute for the Kaja. It is a good option.
Bruno.
The ejector is not an ultimate. It
Yeah.
has a low cooldown, so
Very
every
low
time this ejector is up, for sure Burmese Ghouls will try to force out fights. So they will go for the crits right now as they will pick the Bruno. So, for this game, for game number 1, I do feel that both of the teams adjusted on how the way way they
definitely.
drafted.
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot as well.
Yeah, I think that if you think about it, Burmese Ghouls have really a very good control, very good idea of how they drafted, right? The
Yeah.
order of picks. They get the best tanks first, and then they go for the Chango. There's a good answer, however, from Burmese Ghouls. That was Lunox.
Yeah, I do
And
feel
Axis, I mean.
I do feel that Burmese Ghouls, they baited out the Lolita pick.
Definitely.
Because of the jawhead that they have. Yes.
They aren't scared of the Lolita anymore because they have the jawhead, and they last picked the Bruno, which makes a lot of sense this time because it has so much damage in it.
Yep.
So big chunks of damage instead of those very small damage types, like for example the Claude or the Carry.
But let's see, because that's actually hard to do, especially if you need to target one using your ejector as a player. But again, these guys are pro players, so what am I saying right now? All right.
Definitely they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. Of course, it's all up to the supports here for this game, and I do like it because we did see a bait battle for that track. Here we go. On to the Celestial Palace, game number 1 for day number 2. Long will be using the carry Scott as the X4, Rin as the Lunox, Evil X will be using the Lolita, and Lassie will be using the Mash.
On the other side, you have Burmese Ghouls. It's gonna be maybe on this Tank Rock. It's Ice on this Hylos. Actually, it's Kid on this Chango. It's PV and DV on this Jawhead, and Ace on the Bruno.
Alright, so in the mid lane, we do have a little bit of pokes here from the Grok and Kid, but I do like what Axis Esports is doing. They are giving Long the time of his life. This will of course go to the Lunox, but right now, Carry, having the Bounty Hunter, will get a good amount of XP to deal with this Jawhead in the bottom lane. So if the Carry goes level 4 before 2 minutes, the Lolita can just immediately leave him be and enjoy his time here in the bottom lane.
Now they will try to take this River Crab and are able to take it for sure. They're forcing out the Jawhead this time. They're diving towards it. They will go for, of course, the unstoppable force. Well, that is happening up top already. There's a push on the turret, which is very, very quick.
Very quick, very fast. But both of these teams having the same plan at the same time. Unfortunately for Axis Esports, the turtle will spawn in the top lane. So right now, I think they don't need to set it up because Burmese Ghouls has the map advantage. Plus, they are now having their early boots, so they can rotate very quickly in the top. So as we can see, the Bruno and Ice is setting up for this objective take as they will push out the tower.
Yeah, I think it's very important for anyone, particularly for Burmese Ghouls, to secure all of the turrets against their enemies, because what it does is it gives you map control. At least it increases your real estate in the game.
There you go, like we said. But again, this is the early game damage coming in from Rin. The Order of Chaos really paying off.
This is a lot of damage, of course, coming out from this Lunox. And there's a lot of pressure, however, from Burmese Ghouls in the middle. Expert will be here to defend, as well as the Lolita.
Initiate retreat!
And they will just retreat this time, but they have the damage onto the Grok. Grok, however, runs away. Very, very tanky.
Maybe survives, even popping that movement speed sprint. There you go. The turtle for an exchange for a kill. I will always take that. But again, Team Burmese Ghouls having more experience, especially in the international scene. They do lead by around 1,000 right now, and Kid is at level 7.
Launch attack.
He will probably go for the immediate Ring of Durance or a burst item.
Yeah, Durance for sure. Let's see how they will utilize this early lead coming up from the Chango, but instead they will just secure the grab. There is the ejector. There you go. They want to go for the core this time.
Whoa!
But of course, a very nice usage of the wild charge to stop the bulwark.
That is part 2 of the death of Team Axis Esports. As again, we've said this in the early game, you will pick the Jawhead for picks. For pickups, and that is going to be an objective here in the bottom lane for Team Burmese Ghouls, and they do want to shut down the space being created too long.
Request backup.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
This would be a block from the Grok. Meteor shower is not available, but this means that they will again take away the buffs from Axis Esports. They always do this, and very importantly, Burmese Ghouls having the lead right now, getting more the turrets as well as the buffs. Now, the glowing one is already available for this Chang'e.
There you go. It's going to
hurt.
be another clash here in the jungle. That is the last insanity being popped. That is a Numinum Blast as well to cancel out more engage for Team Burmese Schools. But as I say this, they will just pick up one and they will be very disciplined. They will just disengage.
Just disengage, not being overly aggressive, not overextending against their opponents so that they will maintain this lead. Still 2,000 at this point. Kind of have to wonder, after 2 turret takes, it's still not a big lead from Burmese Schools. This means that some members of Axis Esports are actually farming well. Like, for example, the Masha, as well as the Lunox, they're having a good time. But, again, they should utilize their farm to defend their turrets at this point.
But again, in terms of tempo control, Burmese Schools are the ones dictating where to fight and who to kill. And like this, Evil X even surviving with a slither of health. That is a Numinum Blast counter go. And this is too deep coming in for Burmese Schools. But 2 heroes will fall down from each of the teams. Burmese Schools underestimating that Lolita shield.
Yeah, there's just way too much defense. We will have the U-Mobile highlights this time. A very nice usage of the wall charge. However, they should not have been chasing this time. Of course, with the defense from the Lolita, able to run away, the Numinum Blast even connects, and it punished the members of Burmese Schools.
That is indeed a nice flicker from Evil X to dodge out the second skill of this Chang'e, and it will give Axis Esports the ability to come back from this small deficit right now. It's still an even ball game. I do feel that Axis Esports, when we go up to 9 minutes, they will deal a lot of damage.
Turtle resurrecting soon.
It's very, very important. This time, Gamina block on the drop. Now they will attempt to go for the turtle at this point. Burmese Schools, they do have a lot of control around the turtle area, and they are able to take it very easily, extending their lead once again, and of course giving them better chance of winning the team fights because of the turtle buff.
Yes, you are definitely right. But look at this, both of these carry players, the marksman, is having a good time, just farming up along with one death. The Bruno still doing nothing yet. But as you can see, in terms of scaling, the Bruno is better in terms of one-on-one against the carry, especially having the crit. But as I say this, Team Axis Esports still buying time, pushing out the top tier 2 tower.
So instead of doing anything else, what Axis Esports did was just to match the movements of Burmese Schools. They just push the bottom lane, the top lane, when instead of defending the bottom lane. But it will be a clash. There's the Numinum Blast. It's gonna hit up to one, but they are able to kill up another.
There you go. That is indeed a late glorious pathway, ladies and gentlemen. The fire is burning on the dance floor for Mr. Scott, but Bruno will shut down the Masha. And here comes a retaliation play coming in from Burmese Schools. One by one. Shower in the meteor, says Kid 001. That is the flicker, and that is the ejector for the Lunox. And Bruno taking down the mage player.
What a play from Burmese Schools. Very nice comeback. This is the replay, like we're saying right now. Could be a kill, of course. That's the Numinum Blast only connecting with one, but the Glorious Pathway actually helped them win this fight. They are able to take 2 kills, but because of their overextension, Axis Esports actually lost more, and Burmese Schools, of course, capitalized on this overextension from Axis Esports.
Yes, and the range is just too far from Axis Esports to reach Kid 001 and A002. Clutch flicker in, coming in from the Jawhead to immediately respond to Axis Esports disengage.
Means that the Lord will be in here for the taking for Burmese Schools, slowly taking over this time with the Grok.
That is a massive
out the members of Axis Esports this time. Go for the Lord, of course, with the Bruno in there, they do have the damage. Berserker's Fury picked up by the Bruno, and the Divine Glaive for Kid on the Chang'e.
So you have the crits and you have the magic penetration. What can the Firaga and the Bulwark Shield do right now? 7-5 is the score, ladies and gentlemen. Burmese Schools They do want to set up the Lord. They're pushing out all of the lanes, and the Lord will go to the bottom lane. Kid 001 just popping all of these meteor showers to get all the pokes that they need.
Very aggressive maneuver coming out from the Hylas, but the Bruno is here. They're taking the damage. It's actually hurting the members of Axis Esports. The Rush Pathway is there, but the Hylas will still die. Will there be more coming out from Axis Esports? No, because Burmy Schools, all they wanted was the top tier 2 turret.
Yeah, they just want to push. That is a sacrificial play coming in from the support. But right now, the Lord is here onto the bottom side. That is another wild charge. Here comes the Numinum Blast. Kid flickering in. Unlikely, ladies and gentlemen. And there comes the push coming in from Burmy Schools. They do want to end the game. That is another ejector play. Alley-oop coming in. Coming in from the Jawhead, and everyone is on the floor. Just like Bruno Mars. Triple kill from this Bruno.
Oh my goodness. This Bruno sang the song, and Axis Esports, they danced all the way through it on cue, and now they're falling out. That's the wipeout, and of course the victory by Burmy Schools.
Turn down the lights and close the door. Axis Esports is on the floor.
My goodness.
Says Bruno, says Ace007, Burmy Schools securing game number 1.
A very, very, very quick game. One-sided, I would say. Not in a way that they are always winning the fights, but one-sided in terms of map control. And in terms of the tempo as well, Burmy Schools are controlling it. Why do I say by tempo control? It means that they are dictating the pace of the game.
Yes.
They decide where the fights will be.
Yes.
They decide where to push. And all that Axis Esports did was to overly react to what they are doing. And eventually, they lost all the grasp of the game.
I do like the decision making from exchanging a turtle for 2 towers, exchanging a tower for a turtle and a kill. So every time that they do that, they win. They win the exchange.
Yeah, definitely. And because of the trade-offs that are always favoring the members of Burmy Schools, eventually Axis Esports, they have lost economy.
Yes.
There was a time where they don't trail by a lot, right? The lead in terms of gold wasn't that much.
Yes.
Because of course maybe the Masha is able to get some farm as well as the Lunox.
Yes.
But of course if they don't convert what they have in terms of gold into items that can defend against their opponents, you saw that Axis Esports slowly lost that match. We will see the highlights, however. A lot of action for sure from this Grok. The playmaker from
the playmaker from the team, the Grok and the Jawhead connection. Look at this. Look at the discipline of Burmy Esports. They do have the movement speed of the Glorious Pathway, but they opted to back off.
Yeah.
They said, hey, you are leaving your lane. Please stay in your lane and just go for kills, go for the pressure. And these guys are good in business, you know.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this was probably the most failed attempt.
Yeah, this was an overextension for them.
For Burmy Schools. But again, in plays like this, the one who controls the tempo is indeed winning and controlling the game.
This is the big turnaround, right? You can feel that Axis Esports, they're winning already. But when the Jawhead came, when the overextension happened, they were duly punished. And Bruno was freely hitting from long distance, and when they tried to chase him, it just turned it around. And of course, the Meteor Shower was already available. The cooldown is just way too fast.
Way too short, yes.
Way too short. And look at this. Of course, the kill on the Lunox.
Nice outplay right there from the Jawhead Panda. This was the last fight. This was just a clean Bruno game for Team Burmy Schools. They did buy time. They did buy time for this Bruno to get this oomph of damage. And as we said, as Bruno Mars said,
they're all on the floor.
They're on the floor. That is a total wipeout from Burmy Schools, and they look strong coming into game number 1. What is the next strategy for Axis Esports?
You know what? I think that they should not be changing their strategy in terms of their draft. I think their draft is okay.
Good,
I think they have a definite win condition, but it's just that Axis Esports, they aren't able to accomplish that win condition because they're not defending their turrets very well. They're depending on pushing, they're matching the movements
of
Burmese Ghouls, and they know that with this Bruno, with this Chango, they cannot match that. Even when they have the Masha, it will not be enough.
Unfortunately for the side of Axis Esports, they were leading before the 2-minute mark. But again, sometimes the map itself dictates who wins. Like for example, the first respawn of the turtle, it was in the top lane, and Team Burmese Ghouls were setting up in the top lane.
Oh yeah. So what happened there was when Burmese Ghouls set up for their pushes, it's kind of like basing on what is happening in the map. For example,
right?
If the turtle is respawning in the turtle lane, they will try to push around it.
Yes.
And then when there is a little bit of push from Axis Esports from another side of the map, they just, turbo mode push on the opposing lane.
Yeah. Or if they do have the disadvantage of the Lord and the turtle, they will force out fights so that whenever there is a turtle take or an objective take, they have the advantage because they picked off one. Yeah. So it's going to be a 4-on-5.
Yeah, definitely. That's the first thing that you should be doing it when you are attempting a turtle, right?
Yes.
Go for the part where you will get the advantage. Pick off one from the opposing team, and then of course take the objective afterwards.
Yes. And of course create space as always. You do have that Bruno late game, as we've said. So Team Burmese Ghouls looking pretty happy right now, as they are pumped coming in to this day 2 of the group stages. Axis Esports, like what you've said, they do have a good draft, but I think that they need to fight fire with fire. They need to hope for an outplay. More plays like Evil X's flicker out, dodging the Chango. But man, what a game!
What a game indeed. We are seeing the mastery from Burmese Ghouls of this lineup.
Yeah.
It's quite a textbook type of composition that we already know and we've been talking about a lot. And there's a reason why we predicted the heroes that will be picked in the right order.
Yes.
It makes a lot of sense why the 6 first heroes that were picked in this game were predicted by both of us, because we know that this is the way to go. This is the standard strategy now existing in the meta. And Burmese Ghouls know exactly how to play it. They have executed very well, and they did take the victory.
I definitely agree. And of course, I do feel that was an unexpected jawhead for Team Burmese Ghouls.
Yeah.
Jawhead is strong for the first 5 minutes of the game due to the fact that it can charge you, that is homing, and it has the threat, it has the potential to burst you down alone because of the smart missiles.
That's the problem, that's the big takeaway that you get from the Jawhead, right?
Yes.
That's the reason why the Jawhead was very, I would say, famous in the first season of MPL, all throughout the league that we have here for Mobile Legends. Very strong tank, very, very tanky, very quick because of the unstoppable force back then. Jawhead was just so imbalanced back then.
Yes.
Now, still have some of the facets that you have from the Jawhead, and you will get it. Now this time, however, into the draft, I'm not entirely sure if the Jawhead will be picked once more.
Let's see.
But Burmese Ghouls, they ban out the Kimi and the Hylas instead. So this will make Grok available for Burmese Ghouls.
Alright, so as you've said, Grok is in the pool, but they will go for the cock. Kaja is here. So again, more aggressive strategies for game number 2, especially having this Kaja. I do feel that the Kaja right now is transitioning to a fighter carry role. I do see players going for the Impure Rage.
Although Kaja, but playing as a support as well.
Lunox.
So with the Grok available for Axis Esports plus the Harith, Lunox is the natural choice for Burmese Ghouls.
Yeah.
Maybe they will consider the carry, but it's still pretty early to do that. Although it does make a lot of sense against this Grok.
Yeah.
But then again, they have to look for an answer to the Harith as well.
The Akai is open actually. The Cho is good, I think.
I think that if they don't get the Cho this time, Axis Esports definitely will go for the Cho.
Yeah. Okay.
However,
there you go.
Is the choice for Burmese Ghouls. Back-to-back Jawhead plays.
Yeah, 2 options here for Burmese Ghouls to go for an aggressive pick-off. The Divine Judgment and of course the Ejector. Plus they do have a good amount of burst damage coming in from this Lunox. So again, we're expecting another early game aggressiveness for Team Burmese Ghouls. Meanwhile, look at this. Axis Esports Club. They're now confused because of this Jawhead, but they will answer it with their own Bruno pick.
A very early Bruno pick. Now the idea here is to just to burst on your opponents, have this dash that will actually help your team deliver just a little bit of stun as well.
Yep.
And what happens right now is that Burmese Ghouls will definitely be shocked because of the Bruno pick. It's very early. And I think that for Burmese Ghouls, they should not be putting themselves into a tunnel vision onto the Bruno.
Yeah.
Look for what Axis Esports is trying to do and maybe ban against them or work around against that.
This is where it gets tricky, ladies and gentlemen. The second phase
Your team is banned.
this game. Yeah. Again, they're banning the Valor because it neglects their dive potential, as we did see it in game number 1.
They did ban out the Valor in game number 1.
Yeah, game number 1.
This means
I feel that they can go for an assassin fighter right now because they do have 2 supports that can go all in, can target the Bruno.
Your team
The carry is
picking.
open, but I feel for Burmese Ghouls, they can pick either the Cho, a Hayabusa, or if they want it safe, they can probably go for the Tams to deal with the Harriet.
Tams makes a lot of sense in here since the Hylas is not available. And the reason why they ban out the Granger is because they want the Sustain Heroes.
Sustain Heroes, yes.
Could be another Rafaela actually. Could be a choice here for Axis
Esports.
If they want Oranestes,
Yeah.
some of those healers, even a Digi can be available for Axis Esports for them to use.
Just to counter out the Jawhead and the Divine Judgment from this Kaja,
Maybe
right?
it timed perfectly well, but of course it's going to be hard. Baksha also is there
you go.
Additional choice.
Your team
The
is
instant
picking.
initiation from the Baksha actually could be enough.
Carry.
And this time Burmese Ghouls, we did mention that the carry is available for them to take.
And they will definitely take it.
Definitely take it. Maybe another tank this time.
I think Teresa and Tams is perfect here for the side of Burmese Ghouls. They lack the sustainability right now. Or Akai.
I think Akai is good against the Harith.
Okay.
They will go for the Gadab Kacha.
Okay.
Your team
So,
is
yes,
picking.
they will go for the tank, but they need more crowd control. They want to catch out this Harriet and this Bruno, and then just burst them out by using the Lunox and the carry.
So you will have a lot of control against the Harith. Because the Harith is like a zone control or, a territorial type of hero where he lays on the Zaman Force and tries to fight in there. Avatar of the Guardian could be perfect against this type of strategy because when the members of Axis Esports jumps on one member of Burmese Ghouls, you will have the Gacha with the Avatar of the Guardian to disengage.
Yeah.
And maybe, try to counter-initiate against their opponents. Masha is going to be the last pick, however, for Axis Esports.
Yeah, okay. So I think they're forced out to play the Masha because in terms of the Wombo combo clash, I do feel that Burmese Ghouls has the better composition due to the damage and due to the crowd control. As we can see, nobody is picking up the Purify here from Team Axis Esports. This is a standard late game draft for them.
Yeah.
And I do feel Burmese Ghouls won that draft.
It's gonna be. I don't think that it's either. I don't think it's about winning or losing that kind of draft. I think it's more about having your own set of win conditions, right?
Yes.
For example, in the lineup of Axis of Burmese Ghouls, they have a straightforward type of strategy where they have the carry in the late game. They have good setups in terms of their early game. Maybe it's because the Jawhead is not that easy to execute. Maybe that's where you'll have your doubts. But Burmese Ghouls, they have mastered this Jawhead so well that they will pick it up. Now, Axis Esports, I think they also have a very good strategy. They have the Baksha and the Masha, the new heroes in town.
Yep.
And they will be the ones to surprise Burmese Schools. It's gonna be up to them on how they will use these tools to actually get the victory.
5 seconds.
Let's see, ladies and gentlemen, will Axis Esports get that game number 3?
All troops deployed.
Aksha and Baksha combination coming in for their team. Maybe we'll be using the Kaja Panda as the Jawhead, Kid 001 as the Lunox, Ice. We'll be using the Kadon Kacha and Ace 007 as the carry.
Axis Esports on the red side this time, initiating with the Kadon Kacha, with actually the Grok, but the Grok will have to flicker away. That's Rin on the Harith, and Evil on this Grok. It's Long on this Bruno. It's Scott on this Baksha, and Lacid on this Masha.
Okay, so the idea here for Team Axis Esports is just they will let Baksha and Masha control the map. Unlike game number 1, which Team Burmese Schools is dictating the team fights, Axis Esports has the ability right now to run away from team fights and just go for split pushes because of the wild power and because of the Baksha shield unity per skill.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shielding that can come out of Scott, especially in the early game. It's very hard to penetrate through the defenses of the Basha in the early game.
Yes.
And of course, there's a lot of potential for initiations, courtesy of the Basha. That is one thing that Burmese Schools should watch out for. And already, they're initiating. However, they've dived too deep. They've dove too deep, I mean.
Yeah, okay.
Giving the first blood to Ace, this is really bad news for Axis Esports.
Okay, but nice usage
Oh no.
of the spinning light wheel coming in from Ace 007.
007 for
Ace 007 immediately killing that wagon.
Wow.
For the turret to change this target.
Turtle resurrecting soon.
Very nice decision coming out from Ace. Instead of going for the Grok
yeah.
after he just went. Look at this, the damage output from the Jawhead just because of the ejector and the missiles. More than enough to actually force out the members of Axis Esports away. Now Turtle, it's gonna be there, and now it's gonna be a big problem for the Grok. Uses the flicker. There you go, the dash in, and of course the damage from a Panda.
No matter where you go, no matter where you live, I will find you and I will follow you. That is, of course, the ultimate from the Jawhead. And that is the first objective of the game in an exchange for a tower coming in from Axis Esports. But slowly and surely, Burmese Schools is increasing their income against the Axis Esports team.
So the economy favoring Burmese Schools, it's gonna be up to them on how they will convert this into pushes. Again, it doesn't matter if you get your kills. As long as you don't get the turrets, it won't matter. So Burmese Schools, they should be looking to force the objectives right now, and I think that they will.
They will definitely do it, as they are forcing out the mid lane tower. The second round of objectives is now here. Here we go. A007 is on a killing spree. That is a disaster, and that is an invade from both of these carries, ladies and gentlemen.
Very nice movement from Burmese Schools. Instead of answering the top lane push with the Harith, they know that they will not be able to push that because of the Jawhead. They just invaded on the blue buff. And again, with the damage output that they have, and the early advantage that this carry has, there's just way too much true damage and HP-based damage that even the Baksha and his defenses cannot stand against this carry and this Lunox.
I just can't get over about what happened with A007 right there in the bottom lane. That was just basic MOBA. Just clear out the wave then let the tower do the work. And because of that, it negated the rotation that Axis Esports wanted.
Middle, there's already a push. Bottom, there could be another push here, and it will be there. Burmese Schools already securing two turrets.
Resurrecting soon.
And they will now move towards a turtle.
There you go. Panda is actually doing a good job in dealing with the smash. I look at this tower, it's still very healthy. I do feel for the side of Axis Esports, they need to immediately force out a team fight and hope for picks, because right now, the late game from the side of Burmese Schools is coming in early.
The late game is coming in early. I like what you're trying to say there, but of course the top lane will be destroyed by Long. And I like this decision from Axis Esports. Instead of trying to contest for the turtle, they just push the top lane. It's a fair trade if you think about it, and Burmese goals. At least, I mean, Axis Esports at least will not make the deficit far too long. Far too big, I would say.
Yeah, there you go. But 4 of these 4 heroes from Burmese Schools is rotating up in the top lane. Lacid, there's the switch coming in for both of these teams. Trying to control each lane. There you go. 3-man spear coming in from the Grok. That is the ultimate from Mr. Scott. The Grok block won't do anything as the carry will push out the top lane. And there you go. Like we've said earlier, Panda, the Joehead can burst you down if you catch all of those smart missiles that he has. 5-1 is the score, and Team Burmese Schools is still controlling tempo.
Oh my goodness, they even took down the Masha with a solo kill. That is how strong this Jawhead is.
Yes. A surprise pick coming in.
Very surprising pick in there. Now they take out the Harridan as well up top. The control from the Gadokacha is just way too good.
Yes.
And my goodness, Burmese Schools showing a lot of pocket strategies in just their first game and showing us how they've mastered it so well. This Jawhead is so much of a problem for Axis Esports.
Crowd control is the name of the game for Burmese Schools right now. You have the Unbreakable, you have the Iron Fist, you have the Divine Judgment, you have the Ejector and the Wild Charge.
Soon.
The A007 and Kid 001 will just go for the basic attacks. That's their job. That's the most basic of them all. And they will go for the third objective, which is the turtle. This is clearly a dominating performance for Burmese Schools. What can Axis Esports do?
Well, the first thing that they can do is to activate their split push strategy by having the Masha. But by activating, there's a lot of checkboxes that they need to tick first. For example, they have to find their buffs on the Harriet first. They have to team fight with the Grok and against Burmese Schools. Maybe force, of course, the members of Burmese Schools to react before they can even start their split push. And that's going to be very hard.
Whoa.
Look at Eyesight just threatening Axis Esports with this turtle buff. Burmese Schools are bullying Axis Esports.
Yeah, the lane bull is right here. Lacid cannot do anything right now against this Jawhead. Maybe, look at this, just baiting out his first kill. I mean, his ultimate.
Wow.
And dude, Burmese Schools are really in control. That is the second, probably the first core item for Scott. The defensive item, which is the Athena shield. But it cannot do anything against the true damage of the carry. There you go, Lacid falling low. Look at that.
Have to back away.
Only one, with just one Phantom Step. The Grok is in half health.
Definitely, and now they would try to go. Very nice Grok block in there. The Divine Judgment is just threatening, but of course, they're going to kill the Grok.
That is the first push coming in from Burmese Schools, ladies and gentlemen. And basic attack times 3,000 coming in from this carry in the Lunox. And I think we have game. What can Bruno do? He can only sing. Ladies and gentlemen, 10-1. Burmese Schools is putting on a show.
Lassie will try to match this push, but it will not happen. Burmese Schools knocking on the base, and they might take it in just a few seconds. There will be a defense, however, as they clear out the minion wave, and they punish, however, the Grok for overextending. Lassie just showing himself will be bursted down. So much damage from the Lunox, almost taking down the Bruno this time, and the inhibitor down the bottom lane.
The Order of Chaos doing chaotic things to Axis Esports. All they need to do is hope, and all they need to do is to defend this base. Burmese Schools was actually too hasty from that fight. They did not want to end the game that quickly. But again, man, total control and total dominance for Team BM.
We did say that Burmese Schools They have this type of strategy. They have this type of draft where all they have to do is the standard mode of play.
Yes.
It's textbook already for Burmese Ghosts. All they have to do is literally just execute their lineup and achieve their win conditions. And boy, Burmese Ghosts showed us how to perfectly play Mobile Legends with even different or new meta type of picks.
Yeah.
They have the Jawhead and they have the Gadokasha. Not your most picked heroes for sure, but because of the idea of the draft that's textbook in its own way,
yes,
they just showed us how to win with these heroes.
How to play basic MLBB. And of course, Jawhead is the hero to look out for Team BM, Burmese Ghouls, BMG. There you go, man. Look at the damage of this carry. Order of Chaos plus the light will mark. My goodness. There's no stopping the kid.
This kid is not kidding at all.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, maybe. After taking some damage in, they're not going to be able to land the Divine Judgment. They're clearing out the minion wave, and slowly the Lord is here.
There you go.
Kill the Masha.
There you go.
Kill from the Jawhead.
There you go. Can't go one-on-one with the Jawhead, and Team Burmese Ghouls, they want to end this. That is 3 points for Team Burmese Ghouls coming into this group stages of Day 2 of M1 World Championships.
This is not the Burmese Ghouls that we saw in MSC.
Yes,
this is a completely different Burmese Ghouls woken up with their new strategies, with their new pocket picks, pocket strategies. So we saw Jawhead and the Gadokasha perfectly destroying Axis Esports. The first game, it was all about them performing this meta type of strategy where you get the Chango, you get the Hylos, and you have yourself a very good siege material in terms of taking down your opponents. In the next game though, they put in the Jawhead to match the Masha because they know that because Masha has been really famous in the meta right now.
Yes.
And they had to, what they had to do was develop a way for them to counter the Masha. And we know that Panda with this Jawhead performed so well in the first game and the second game.
Kid 001 is your MVP having the perfect game right here. 6-0-5. Quite a quick game for Team Burmese Ghouls. Like what you've said, this is basic Mobile Legends. We've seen it from A007.
Oh yeah.
Mr. 007 himself.
007.
007.
0 and 6, we have the highlights.
This is it.
This is indeed
This was it. This was it.
Watch out for the carry. He will destroy the cannon so that the attention of the turret will be on the Grok.
Yes. And that is him playing with the turret aggro.
And the damage of the carry as well as this Lunox is really good against the tanks. Not the best Grok block in there, but of course they will still get the victory in this specific clash.
I would like to give this actually to the Jawhead. Panda really doing a great job manning up Masha in the top lane. And everywhere she goes, he was there. He was there to follow.
It's the man-to-man defense coming out from the Jawhead. Always go where the Masha is. I think this is one of the rare moments where there is a little bit of overextension from the Burmese Ghouls, but who can blame them? And now, of course, in this clash, there's just no way for Axis Esports to defend even when they are fighting under their own pace, because there's just way too much farm on Burmese Ghouls, way too much equity in the map.
Yes.
They have very strong hold of the game,
yes.
and eventually Burmese Ghouls will take that match.
Burmese Ghouls making a statement and giving chills to the other teams right now for M1.
Very scary now.
Very scary indeed.
So what amazes me about Burmese Ghouls is that it's just their first match. Their first match of their group, but they've shown already some of their strategies. I'm not entirely sure how many tricks they have up in their sleeves, how many aces they have in their pockets, but at the very least, I've enjoyed this Jawhead for sure.
Yes, of course. They did their research.
For sure.
They Googled it.
They've studied it perfectly.
They've studied Jawhead.
Jawhead, man.
They've studied Jawhead and in the web. And man, it paid off, man.
It did pay off, because the idea here is the Masha is, the hero
to watch out for.
And what they did was just to look for a specific hero that can match it. Like, for example, the teams are looking for Thams or the Cho to go up against the Masha or the Leo board time and time again. But what they did was just pick up the Jonet.
Whenever the Masha hits that first skill, the wild power that gives her up to 40% movement speed, the Jonet can just follow her because of the unstoppable force, right?
For sure. We'll know more about the players. We have an interview coming up soon, right now, I mean.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Conrad here, and I'm with the Vickers Burmese Goals. And of course, that was a great victory coming from them as they managed to take down Axis Esports. Of course, first and foremost, I'd like you to introduce yourself.
I'm a kid, I'm an outlaw.
Okay, you definitely had some great games against Axis Esports right here. This is the first series again for Group B, and you guys managed to clinch such a convincing victory. So how long have you guys prepared to head into this matchup, heading into its M1?
We prepare for a lot of time, like a month. We prepare a lot for this M1.
Well, of course, now that you are seeing so many of all these great pool of teams heading in towards Group B, is there any sort of teams that you would not like to face, or is there some sort of a team that you really respect?
I want to face with Evo's ID.
Wow. Evo's ID is definitely one of these huge teams coming in towards the M1 World Championship. And of course, now that you guys are leading the pack right now with the first series, are you guys confident to exit out this group and be the top of Group B?
We will try harder.
All right. And of course, that is definitely great. So, other than Evo's ID, is there any sort of players that you're looking out for?
Maybe Rock is a good player.
I see. That's definitely great stuff. And of course, this is all that we have here from Burmese Goal, and now back to you guys on the caster's desk.
Thank you so much, Contra. That was a man of few words, I would say.
Yeah.
But I think that the big takeaway here from Burmese Goals is that they did prepare for M1 so hard that they were very focused on thinking of strategies that can work in the meta, and they're not scared. They want to face EVOs in Indonesia.
And they studied for only a month.
Only a month.
Only a month.
From now.
From now.
Because the thing is, I think the qualifier for for MPL is just maybe 2 months from now.
2 months from now, but man, they're really prepared.
Yeah.
Coming at this, they do want to battle EVO's Indonesia, because I do feel that they are the strongest team right now. But man, I'm so excited to see all of the games that we have for today. Definitely, because we still have Gusu Gamers from US and
Candy Comeback.
Candy Comeback,
for
right?
sure. That will be later. We still have plenty of matches today. I hope you had your lunch. I hope you had your coffee, or whatever it is to start your day, because we will have so much ML action for today. But now we're going to hop into a very quick break. Wolf and Manjin, your casters, #The Connection. We will see you after this.
They told us that it's just a game. That nothing will ever come out of it. That it won't bring us fame or glory. That it won't make our country proud. They told us to stop wasting our time. Well, let them say all they want. We'll prove it to them. We'll be the champions. Mobile Legends Bang Bang World Championship 2019. M1.
You may have been denied. may have hit rock bottom. You may have been craving for the lights.
Axis Esports as one of the teams from Malaysia who has already a couple of all these international runs as well, but the last time that we saw them clinching the championship title back in their home soil was MPL Season 2 MYSG. And of course, that may sound like it's so about it. The members of Axis Esports are veterans in the scene, while Team Gosu, of course, have some amazing talent roster across the table, and I'm really glad to see them coming all the way to Kuala Lumpur to compete, and I do believe that they have what it takes to qualify and towards the playoff runs as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those who just joined the broadcast, do remember this is a single round robin elimination. Group B is going to end today, and each day we will have 2 teams waving goodbye. Yesterday we unfortunately had to say goodbye to Impunity KH and Evos SG. Today 2 other teams will join those 2 in the eliminated pool. And of course for Axis Esports, their tournament lives hang in the balance temporarily until the end of this series against Team Gosu.
That's right, and this is just the nature of every battle. Speaking of battle there, catch every battle, stream like cray, get unlimited data for all apps with Gaylor Unlimited GX30, only with you mobile. Of course, now back into the game, Axis Esports here. 2-0 deficit that they just had. Of course, morales are running pretty low, but for Team Gosu, they have been really eager to even get themselves in towards the first game. Speaking of the first game here, we'll jump right in towards the graph. And of course, Axis Esports will now be on the blue side and Gosu on red.
And the nature of Group B, I think the general consensus, at least between us, is Group B is probably the most neutral group of all, because all these teams seem like they have what it takes to make it through to the playoffs. And we've seen Axis Esports, they got surprised by your Jawhead pick, by the Mini Star pit coming in from the Burmese Schools. And the US team, Team Gosu, might bring out the same kind of surprises that Axis Esports does not seem ready to face in the first series.
That's the beauty when you pit some of the best in the world against each other. Different metas will come into play, and I just love how the Burmese Goals brought in Jawhead, which we haven't seen in the meta for the longest of time, at least in Southeast Asia. And now we're looking at Kufra as well as Halas consistently getting axed away from day 1, and we're seeing a little bit of that trend hitting it towards day 2 as well. Same goes to that export ban, so one more ban over on the hands of Team Gosu.
Yeah, I think if you are Gosu or Axis Esports, you have to keep an eye on this export. Burmese Ghoul, they gave the export away in the previous series, and they were able to smash that particular hero hard as they could, and that is a sign that teams are starting to find ways, starting to find the cracks in what seems like an impenetrable hero that is on the S tier list right now. And speaking of that, Grok got through again. We've seen Grok yesterday, first half, the first 3 series, got Grok constantly banned out, but suddenly VFM, RRQ started to find ways to deal with this tank, and now other teams are picking up. Guess what? We'll let Grok through. We have other priorities to focus on, and that is what is happening right now.
That's right. There's always that trump card that you really want to get by. And now we're looking at 2 solid picks for the South Team Gosu here, with Esmeralda as well as the Kaja. Then one fun fact is that one of the members of Notorious Villains are currently coaching for Team Gosu as well. So you see them, of course, getting that sort of a amplification in terms of drafting. Well, I'm really hoping that they do get the best out of this. Now, Axis Esports here will pick up their signature Lunox for the Southern Ring, and I'm really hoping to see Axis pull off some of their signature picks coming into play, such as the Helkert. But, you know, Helkert, you don't really have to pick it in the first phase. And that will definitely reveal the whole strategy going in towards this entire run. But, of course, Masha seems to be a pretty consistent pick that has been picked up by most of these teams. And we've seen so many Mashas going with those annoying split pushes, and it's so hard to even take her down.
Yeah, but Burmese Schools proved that Marsha was not an issue. At least if Axis Esports pick her up. Last year has been playing Marsha in 2 games it did not work out at all. Hopefully 3 times a charm win as well. Like you mentioned, the signature Lunox, he has been putting so much effort, and it would be a shame for Team Gosu to just find another loophole to get by this power pick that Axis Esports relies so much on. And with the Lolita pick, maybe it is Team Gosu's answer to what Axis Esports is trying to do.
Yes, I'm really liking the early pick for Lolita. We've seen so many of that phase 2 pick or ban heading towards Lolita, so why not force that one out before even getting into its phase number 2, as we are already seeing Kimi getting taken out. Well, I'm not really all too huge fan with this Kimi ban right here, because there's still so many other A-list marksmen still on the table. We got the Granger, we got the Claude, who still comes by every now and then, and of course Gosu here could even opt to actually take down one more fighter. Well, not really exactly a fighter, I'll just correct myself right there. Maybe if they really want to ban, the Valor might be a good choice as well, because for the side of Axis Esports, they are still looking for a little bit more of that firepower.
Yeah, and Axis Esports, I believe they also did pick the carry in the previous game. Granger still on the table, like you mentioned, and you are Team Gosu. I was about to bring out the Archive. Archive was a pick that, while we were watching the previous series, we were hoping that Axis Esports will pick that up in game number 1, where they only had this Lolita as that front line. Team Gosu, they're going to deny this double tank because the rest of the priority tanks, Hylos and Kufra, have been taken out as well. So smart move from Team Gosu. But I also want to point out, Team Gosu during their qualifiers towards M1, they have some interesting picks when during the Shanghai qualifiers, where they have Estes, a hero that we just don't see almost anywhere. But today they're gonna go with the textbook play, and carry will be their choice.
I do like the answers coming from the side of Team Gosu right here. They needed something that's really reliable to shred out some of these tanks, and what better way than to pick up the carry? All you have to do is get the Demon Hunter Sword, and you will get a little bit more of that power spike, or even the Golden Staff as well. But Franco is something that we haven't really seen all too much of inside of the M1, but in the MPL M1SG, this is one popular pick heading in towards that playoff round. So Axis Esports is taking double or nothing, and now they're locking in the Franco right here and hoping to connect those hoops.
Yeah, and this is the all-in, I could say the all-in for Axis Esports. On paper, it seems like it's going to work out pretty well, and it is. The theory crafting for Axis Esports does seem more robust compared to the first series. Team Gosu right now, if you're looking at this Franco, you kind of know that Kaja might not find an easy way to just go and flicker Divine Judgment because of the presence of this Franco. So he has a big task if you are the Malaysian team. But Team Gosu, the Tamos is a really obvious choice. We've seen Leomon being picked out only by VFM yesterday as a stable, neutral fighter, but the general consensus is Tamos is still the more popular pick.
Well, I definitely will agree with that. The Lavador has been really consistent, and the win ratios are pretty good as well, as we are looking at the stats of Tavis. And for Axis Esports right here, of course, great pickoff potential in the early bouts, but heading in towards the late game here, I'm looking at Gosu, and I'm liking how secure the mid and late game is for the North American team. Now, of course, Team Gosu here, being here in the M1, they're looking to prove a statement. Same goes to Axis Esports. So now we're heading in towards our very first game between these two timelines. Of course, love the flags as well, pretty much similar in colors in that sort of sense. But for Axis Esports here, they really got to pick themselves up. I felt like that 2-0 sweep that just happened against Burmese Goals, it was a little bit of that sort of a passiveness coming from the Axis Esports side, which I felt was not really that sort of a signature play style that they were in. So perhaps they should be pretty much well relaxed to be confident to play their own game.
Yeah, and the skills will kind of tip as well. Malaysia, the locals would mostly agree that Axis Esports, just like most of the Malaysian teams, are the aggressors. They like to play aggressively, but we've seen Game 1 slightly greedy against Burmese Ghouls with the single tank 2 fighter. Didn't work out. Game 2, same as well. But the game is ready though, so we'll see if Axis Esports can turn this around and flip the script and take on Team Gosu in the second series.
Gosu, the American Dragons here are slowly marching in towards the lanes. And of course, get yourself that M1 ticket. There's a little bit of that promo code that you can copy down if you have not make your purchase. And now we're looking at Ken Ray here, already tossing out the wheel, and Breezy, oh my goodness, already dropping down to 50%. So a rough start for the side of Gosu right here, but shouldn't be too much of a hassle for Team Gosu to come back into play. So basically supported by the Kaya, and they're looking to make sure that Breezy gets that level 4 in hand so that they can go in for that flicker Divine Judgment.
Yeah, and Team Gosu right now is going to go for the standard, and I like the early invade coming in from the USA team, and Evo is the only one who tried to go for the protection on that buff, and he actually took it away, so managing to slow down the tempo from Team Gosu is a good start for Axis Esports.
That's definitely a huge signal for the side of Axis to actually march forward as well. Axis Esports will also try to take down the cap without any sort of contest at all. So we're looking at all these other members on over the top side here, crushing over the side of Lasset as well. So Lasset here will just have to hold on for dear life for the time being. But Kenray shouldn't be too much of that sort of problem for him to actually hug by the corners of the tower of the bot lane.
Yeah, and Axis Esports taking a page out of what Burmese Ghouls did in the first series against them. In under a minute and a half, Burmese Ghouls were able to take that top tier 1, rendering this Masha ineffective. And right now what Axis Esports trying to do is to take that bottom tier 1, but now Team Gosu, they're gonna jump the gun right now. Lassit does not have that level 4. General, though, pumping the damage with the wheel, not able to get the kill off. Meanwhile, Team Gosu takes that tier 1 bot, and this is what... Axis Esports takes that tier 1 bot, and this is what they want. Now you free up the map for Lassit to be a bit more effective.
Wow, Flicker coming out from the side of Breezy as well, and this is going to be that turtle going on slight reset as we are looking at a full Flicker team from the side of Axis. Well, way too quick for me to see what's on the line for the side of Gosu, but for Gosu, they're just making sure that they stay safe for the time being. And now, Axis Esports already attempting the very first turtle of the game.
Definitely a more composed recovery. They were not letting game 1, series 1, get to them. So Team Gosu, they're going to lose that turtle. The fact that they were not able to steal the buff early on, they lost the turtle, they lost the tier 1 bot. Axis Esports, with that slight economy advantage, can look to push this. And you can see 4 members from the Malaysian team, they are already congregating on the top side of the map. They want to take the top tier 1 just so this Masha can actually function. And now they go in with the ultimate onto Paulo. Great wild shot. Paulo is blocked by the wall, so they will get the first blood, and that will go over to Axis Esports.
What a great setup coming in from that Grok. Look at that wall charge ramming onto 2, and that wall to negate the escape. And now Axis Esports can take more than just that. They've already got the turtle, they've already got the first blood, and they will also take another tower down from the top side. Mel, look at the gold graph here. They're already 2,000 in favor, and Axis Esports are looking to dominate.
And Lax is looking pretty fine right here because those 2 side lane tier 1s are taken down. Now this Masha can go anywhere she wants, like you mentioned, the gold grab in favor of Axis Esports completely. Team Gosu seems like the only aggression that they made was onto Lassit twice, no kills at all, and they're forced into this very conservative playstyle, and that will give Axis Esports the space that they need. They will find Polo once more, and that one will go over too long.
We can see Scott to suppress him right there, and he could not even move a muscle. Now Gosu here already dropping another member. Of course, this is still pretty much early into the game, 4 minutes in, and we're seeing Axis having a great control inside the jungle, and you see there's so much of that pressure going on, and Team Gosu does not really have any sort of response for the time being, and there it goes, 1 more tower on the top side.
Team Gosu a bit too passive. They are not responding to the sieges from Axis Esports. They are still leaving that side lane, the Thamas, to farm in the bottom lane. Sure, you get their resources, but the rest of the map is jeopardized by Axis Esports, and not really sure what they're going to do now because the carry seems like it's not able to find the effectiveness that they need. As we mentioned, that carry does go down, but Basic comes in. He wants that revenge. Polo as well with the chance, going to jump right in, gets the stun onto Scott. Long will flicker away. Breezy gets ambushed and gets taken down by Vin, and this is what you want to see from Axis Esports. The recovery, Polo with a limited blast, but cancels by Scott. He hooks him away, and then will give Ranger the killing spree. Basic now will try to salvage everything to dump in with the Stardust 4, and we'll find that the shutdown onto the Ranger, but Basic has to get away, and Axis Esports will not let that happen. The killing spree going over to Rin.
Whoa, such a beautiful fight coming from Axis Esports, and look at Scott though. That beautiful hook cancel out the Numenon Blast, And Axis here, looking for another turtle, but let's have a look at the replay brought to you by Mew Mobile. Liam Basic, he went in for a chase, and of course Wong was forced to flicker away. And this is where things get even more interesting. They know that Paulo is channeling ult, and Scott, in that sort of a moment, clutches it off and cancel in time to save members of Axis Esports, and it was only down to Basic, but Rin still made sure that he gets a kill with that flicker coming out.
Yeah, and even with the falling Star Moon, Esmeralda got the shutdown but was not able to get out, so in the end, the shutdown doesn't really matter too much for Axis Esports because they got more than they came for. Scott, MVP for that. Evo now getting ganged on, but he is a drop pretty tanky. They can use the Divine Judgment on him, but they didn't pull him back, and that means Evo will get away. Scott free, and guess what? Paulo Kenray is caught out again, and it will be this one going over to Evo.
Well, Evil X, of course, already took a lot of that damage, but it was Kenray who fall in that sort of a slight skirmish. But looking at Gosu members, they're slowly getting themselves back on track. Though a little bit late though, 6,000 gold still in favor of Axis, and that's going to be the buff being pulled over. And Paulo right now is getting that all-channel performance out of Scott, but no follow-up whatsoever from Axis.
And Rin is coming online on his signature Lunox 3-0-2 long as well. 3-1 and 2, the two calls from Axis Esports are on a roll, and Team Gosu feels like they are really desperately trying to something happened. The only kill that they got was Basic onto that shutdown on the Granger, but now another 5 Paulo immediately caught out. Not even have a chance to use that Aluminum Blast, and Team Gosu won't have a chance to defend. This tower at all.
I feel like Paulo has been caught out a little bit way too much in this sort of early game fights, and now we're already in 7 minutes of the game, and that possibly shouldn't be the case at all for the side of Team Gosu, but for they have to let this mid tower fall in that sort of sense, and Axis Esports here can just run free anywhere as they please. And speaking of that, Kenray getting caught out as well.
Yeah, no way out for Kenray. Another kill going over to the core of Axis Esports. Long now, 5-1 and 2. This Granger is absolutely massive. Blatant Dispatch available. They're gonna get the suppress on the Basic, but Team Gosu now, they have the backup. But keep your eyes on Rin. This Lunox is pretty scary. He's still left alone. Basic is in, but the brilliance from Lunox will keep her invulnerable for now. 1-2 goes over to Paulo, but it seems like Lasting will find Paulo in return. General now isolated for the rest of his team, and it seems like Axis Esports will find a win. 1, 2, 3 are down. Granger on the killing spree, and Axis Esports under 8 minutes will crack the base of Team Gosu.
That was technically a team wipe before Kenray even came back up online. Now, heading back into his ad play, Basic was trying to focus everything upon all these members of Axis, but Flicker coming out from the side of Scott to bait Paulo on towards the other corner instead. And of course, Gosu, all they could possibly do was run away, and they should not even commit towards that fight inside the jungle, and they have to pay the price with that broken base.
The Malaysian Tigers have seemed to awaken after game. After Series 1, Team goes to Paulo. We talked about how he got caught up multiple times, and in all these scenarios, this Loliga just feels like ineffective all along. And with that being said, Axis Esports first inhibitor in the middle lane down. Not even 10 minutes in, the Lord will be spawning up pretty soon, and Axis Esports will be eyeing on that objective.
Well, first, we're having the Malaysian Tigers here looking for their very first win. Well, of course, it's so convenient that Team Gosu also has the dragon logo with them, so crossing Tigers with the dragon. Well, of course, jokes aside, now back into the game. Gosu here would need to stall for a great run. And General here, not really having the best of weaponry to actually head in towards the next battle because the tanks from inside of Axis Esports has already emerged with so many of that sort of assists as well as goal, and they've already got all that they need to actually soak all those damage. But Scott here just waiting for any passersby, and perhaps one good hook will initiate the fight, and instead he hooks the minion.
Almost found, and that will allow Lassie to have free reign of this Lord. Marsha, one of those heroes that we know can solo this objective. Look at her go. The Lord does not stand a chance, and Lassie will be the new Lord, at least for now. Team goes to, they have to deal with this onslaught of Axis Esports. The threat of Scott is always there, and it seems that Paulo will be the victim for the 6th time in a row.
Wow, 6. And no assist at all for the side of Paulo. He did get a kill somewhere in between the game, of course, but he goes to here. They seem to be having a little bit of that early jitters. Of course, this is, after all, the very first game in the entirety of the tournament, but hoping that Gosu here could make a little bit of that comeback here, as we see Rin here has not even dropped a single time. Same goes to Lasset as well as Evil X and Lung on that Granger pick. He has already played a lot of that Granger back in MPL MYSG, and he's known as one of the best out there for the entirety of the season.
This power from Axis Esports was missing in the series against Burmese Ghouls, but against Team Gosu, they are unleashing the full power. The Guardian just come out onto Paulo, and Paulo now with his dying breath will have to hold this score as Team Gosu desperately need to defend against this potential final siege, and Axis Esports, they're just gonna go for the crystal and they'll bag their first win.
With the Lord marching right in, this will be the first victory round for Axis Esports. What a way to actually start off the entirety of this best of 3. But Team Gosu doesn't seem like they have any sort of replies at all in this first game of the series. Now, Axis Esports, like we talk about them, desperately needing points. And this is at least 1 point being secured by Axis. And another game will bring them the entirety of the match 2-0, which will give them a vital 3-point lead.
Yeah, and you can look at the faces of the members of Team Gosu. They are stunned by what Axis Esports deliver, contrary to the first series that they were watching as the audience. This is an Axis Esports that they did not expect to face. And we talk about Team Gosu having those picks that they have not brought out yet from the qualifiers. Maybe the next game they want to attempt that.
Yep, exactly, and Evil X will be the MVP for this matchup, not even falling a single time, and he was in charge of setting up all those great launch charge over the wall, and of course, that path being blocked there, it will give Rin as well as Lux so much of that room to actually mark for it and take down all their enemies. And of course, we've seen those two here only getting 2 kills thus far, so they definitely could have put up a better stand. And as we head in towards the recap of what just went on, this is the first blood heading in towards the top lane, and this is where Scott pickoffs after pickoffs after pickoffs. I feel like this guy is definitely one man that's pretty underrated.
And this is where Scott truly shines. And if there's one highlight reel that you want from Axis Esports, this is it. Look at Scott, the hook, true basic, on point to cancel the Numinum Blast, which could have mitigated the loss of Team Gosu, but because of that, they grab Paulo. Basic does kill off the Granger, but it really doesn't matter because at the end of the day, the kill still went over to the Lunox after that flicker.
Yep, and that definitely was well worth it. As we see a huge lead heading in towards 6 minutes of the game, 8-1 and extended to 10-1 much later on. And this is that sort of team fight that should not be happening inside of jungle for Gosu, because what they needed to do was just stay a little bit more passive. Whether or not the enemies are attempting Lord, the Lord is not even up. So yeah. What exactly are they actually doing inside the jungle?
And Paulo, there is slight criticism. The Lolita was hardly with the team. You can see that even in those moments where you talk about how he flashed to take down Scott, slightly unnecessary right there. He needed to be with his team. Sure, the Numenon Blast was out, but the fact that Rin managing to get out with that flicker, she should be the priority for Team Gosu. You can see 3 members were trying to kill off their Lunox. Suddenly this Lolita just goes out of position, gets picked off But if you're playing against a Franco, you always have to be careful of that that surprise, that factor, the element of surprise.
That's right, and that definitely was that game-winning factor. This sort of a pocket pick strategy that Access Esports still have under their sleeve. So, with that being said, will we see another Franco going into Game 2?
I think Franco is now a more reliable choice, a more prevalent choice, at least for Access Esports. They have found success in Game 1, and Team Gosu, I don't think they would want to ban out this Franco just because they won it in Game 1.
That's right, and there's still so many of that sort of priority bans right out there. Well, of course, the same old high loss as well as Xborg every now and then getting the pick or even ban. So maybe they might still focus on towards that. Or do you feel like Team Gosu is going to change that one up since Rin as well as Lung was so effective on that Lunox as well as the Granger?
Yeah, I feel like the ban should definitely go to the Granger, either the Granger, Lunox, one of them, and you kind of need to start not including Cho in the ban list. Cho has been picked once, I believe, yesterday, did not find success. Lucky was the one playing this hero. He felt really uncomfortable on it against RRQ. And if your goes right now, the Cho is just a pick that you are anticipating slightly a bit too much, but after Game 1, I don't think that is your main concern.
Yeah, I definitely would say that it's still pretty relatively safe if we still get that Chow off the table in that sort of sense. But then again, like you mentioned, there's still so many of all these other sort of threats, and Granger could also be picked up instead of being banned, which I feel like is a better option than axing that one away, because Granger, of course, Death Sonata having such great range to actually snipe people away. That's definitely one utility that they could actually use in some of these team fights for Team Gosu. And in that sort of a trade-off that we just saw between two of these teams, I felt like Team Gosu hasn't really gotten all too much of that sort of a lead at all to begin with. So they were just following the tempo of what Access Esports just set up.
Yeah, exactly. And if you look at Team Gosu's Game 1 draft, I felt like the Damus was an okay pick if it was executed properly, which definitely was not the case. But if you want to put a replacement in there, Chang'e can easily replace the carry or the Damus. You run the lineup without the marksman, the 2-mage, 1 fighter, and it will still kind of be okay because you have the presence of that Lolita. Polo, you look at the Granger, you should be thinking to yourself, I need this Guardian's Bulwark to block out the Death Sonata. Never happened. Caught off, went for kills instead of protecting the team. Just all these crucial mistakes that seem really minor, but at the end of the day, Access Esports just took it and ran with it.
Yes, and I would definitely say that Game 1, Access Esports does look like the better team, and it's pretty much a straightforward run for them because a lot of all these members were all scattered, but now we're heading back in towards the draft and heading into this Game 2 here. We're seeing Kufra, of course, having one of the highest ban rates so far. What do you feel about this Kufra brand, and why do you think that teams don't really want to deal with it?
I had this discussion with IC Baby yesterday during the match against RRQ and VFM, where the Game 2 that VFM won, it was because of that Kufra. I was talking about maybe you can let Kufra through, but I was proven wrong. Kufra, the Tyrant's Rage, the Bouncing Ball, the Tyrant's Revenge, Tyrant's Wrath, and Bouncing Ball. It's just too much. Sure, he got nerfed, but his ability as a front line to disable mobility, to get that engaged, is just way too overwhelming for most of the heroes in this current meta to deal with. And it's just those picks that if you let it through, then you're basically reducing your chances of winning as much as it sounds ridiculous.
And it's pretty hard to actually catch out the Kufra as well, judging for the fact that, yes, there's those tweaks in terms of cooldown and such, but the chain crowd control that he provides is definitely one thing that could disrupt the entirety of a team fight. Now, we're also seeing Kaya as well as Xbox being rebooted, so we're just keeping some stuff consistent right here as we're heading in towards the later phases of this day here. And Team Gosu now trying to fight back, trying to go in with that reverse sweep. They need something that's absolutely different, and they should come with that plan B. And starting off, they are going in with the Hylos as it's being left out in the open. Of course, that Harrod ban here was something that was pretty interesting to me as well, because sometimes it's being left out in the open, and yet again, not many of these players are actually opting to pick up the Harrod. And I love how Team Gosu Let's do also play with the camera.
Yeah, and again, it's going to be Lunox and Grok for Axis Esports. They have found their comfort zone, or should I say, Team Gosu gave them their comfort picks. If you look at the previous game, maybe it should be Xbox and Grok being taken out. Then you can safely take the high loss without having to worry about this front line from Team Axis, who has been causing so much trouble in game number 1. But instead, they let it through. They let the Lunox through as well. Maybe the Xbox and the Grok. Xbox, Lunox, and you let the Grok through. These are the considerations that you have to adapt on the go. But maybe Team Gosu, they have something else in mind because now they picked up the Marsha.
I'm really liking this pick here. And wow, we're having really solid front line sustain for the side of Gosu. So we know that they're going to be playing a lot safer than we're seeing as compared to what we saw in game number 1. And Gosu here, they need a lot of all that sort of burst potential as well. So what should they actually go for in that second phase? Because Axis Esports here will possibly go in with either a marksman pick to actually finish off this sort of round. But if they do go in for a marksman, which means that there will be a little bit less of that tank for them. And of course, they could not even miss out on that Valor pick.
Yeah, and we talk about how Gosu ban out Akai in the second ban phase. And if you're looking at what they want to pick, maybe the Chang'e could be decent. Maybe they want to set their eyes on possibly the Gord if you want to kind of play the late game. You are still lacking that marksman, that mage. Well, we've seen them play Esmeralda. Previously, I think that Esmeralda was not a bad choice either way if they still want to fall back to that. But with this kind of opening the high-lows Marsha into the Lolita, they have a big choice to make because they won't have the they won't have the luxury of counter-picking Axis Esports when the ban phase ends.
Well, I would definitely say the same as well. Like, there's only so little options left for them. And now, with even Chang'e getting taken out, well, this is definitely that preemptive move coming in from the side of Axis Esports. And I'm really liking what I see so far. And now we're seeing another Bruno to come into play. So with this sort of a lineup, we can see great DPS as well as burst coming from the side of Axis. But for Gosu's side, how are they going to respond to this? Yes, they got great tanks. Yes, they can go in for some split push, but they still need a little bit more of that sort of damage output to actually take down Axis if they were ever to commit in towards a full-blown team fight to fend off against Axis.
Yeah, and Axis had the same thought as well with that Chang'e ban we talked about. You look at this robust lineup, the only thing missing is probably this Chang'e or maybe the Gord. I pointed it out earlier on, and I think this is the clearest choice that Team Gosu could consider. So they're locking the Gord, they're locking the Kimi, marksman Kimi in fact, and this is going to round out possibly the final lineup for this series if Axis Esports were able to find an answer to it.
Now looking at Gosu's side, early game may not be exactly all too efficient going in for them, but of course they won't be relying on that Kimi pickup right here. And for the side of Axis, one last pick to actually secure themselves either 3 points or even stalling things out into only securing 1 point. Of course, Axis having lasted here, still deciding 15 seconds left, and wow, I'm already liking what I see with all these sort of picks going for Axis, and they could even go for another fight out, which they've already had their eyes set on towards that Thomas. So this is going to be pretty much that sort of consistency that they will have, and now we're already seeing both sides already finish up their draft. A lot of picklers have been being picked up right here, and nope, there's not going to be any other difference other than the Revitalize that has been brought in for Paulo. So this is definitely going to be that sort of righteous pathway followed by that Revitalize to go in with the amplified healing inside of its zone.
Absolutely, and Gosu, interesting observation as well is that Paulo is not on the Lolita. He's gonna play the Hylos because Lolita doesn't feel like he was comfortable. So maybe Gosu made some adjustments. Right, you fought the Lolita. We'll give you the Hylos. Maybe this is where I think Gosu, like most of the teams out there, they needed time to warm up. Maybe this is the game that they can take it back. The Golden Kimi was kind of expected, and the Tamus as well. In response to Marsha, most of the time we've seen Marsha Tamus. But statistically, Marsha has a slightly higher win rate, at least throughout day one. So we'll see if Axis Esports can turn it around with this Tamus pick.
Well, I would also say that from the other side as well, Gosu's also trying to bump that one up as well in terms of statistics. But Well, I do like the fact that they actually swap out Paulo's Lolita and towards that Hylos pickup right there, because Hylos have so much more mobility as compared to Lolita. Once Lolita commits to any sort of fight at all, she cannot even escape. And that was that sort of situation that Paulo was stuck at in game number 1. Now, having a little bit more leeway here, do you feel like Gosu stand a chance against Axis Esports?
I definitely would like to believe so. You like the draft of Axis. I do like the draft of Gosu as well. Just like game 1, it looked robust, but what I'm concerned about, or what I still have doubts about, is probably the execution. But we'll see if Team Gosu can prove me wrong. Game number 2, it is best of 3 against Axis Esports.
Axis Esports now already getting that 1 victory, so they need 1 more to tie things up. They've already lost 1 series against Burmese Gold, and at least that 3 points will definitely be a real huge joy factor for them to actually make a comeback. But Gosu here already proxying the wave, trying to actually chunk it down, not really damaging the side of Lung though, as Scott is coming here for the support as well. Breezy getting stand down, forced to flicker away in this early phase as Jarno as well. Wow, that's definitely going to be causing them a little bit of a commotion as well, hitting towards the mid phase.
Yeah, that is just underestimating the power of this Valier. These Soul's fireballs do slow you in AoE, and he gets 1 charge every time he lands it, and the accuracy from Scott has been on point. Just like his Franco hook, he's confident with those skill shots, directing them on top of Team Gosu. 2 flickers out. Breezy now does not have it. General does not have the flicker. It's going to be easy for Axis Esports to collapse on them if they want to.
We're looking at Scott right here, slowly making sure that he zones away some of all these members. But
they found him!
First blood.
I got no words for that.
You overstep, and Basic is ready, but seems like Gosu will lose Kenrei in the bot lane. A bit overextension. They trade 1 for 1, but if you are Team Gosu, that opening that was given over to God, perfect.
That definitely was a show of excellence coming from the core. Great Sun, and of course that channeling element was a full channel to actually secure that for the first blood as well. But Basic here already spotting out
again.
Another round, and Flicker has to be utilized here. And Gosu here with all 4 members being committed towards the top side. They might lose a little bit of that sort of EXP, but that doesn't matter. They've already got all that sort of pickup that they need, and they're well secured to take this first hurdle down.
And we talked about how Team Gosu seems to play a more conservative playstyle, and they are doing so. The ultimate was used, channeling Omen by Basic, so no core ultimate to work with for this next fight if it ever happens. And Axis Esports, they're gonna rotate all 5 members into that middle lane. Last is waiting in the wings. Team Gosu now, it's their turn to go on the offense.
Wow, we're seeing members of Axis Esports still on level 3. But look at Gosu though. All of them have already got their ultimates and now moving up already. And they could definitely go in for a little bit of that invade with actually risking all too much, but instead they lock their eyes on bottom side. They want to pick up Lancet, and Lancet knows that he's being surrounded. But Lancet already gets a little bit of a helping hand coming from.
They got a stop. Glorious Staff is it. Brilliant starts to come out from Ray, trying to get away, but maybe. No, Lancet, they laser him down. It's going to be Paulo to pick up that kill.
And he goes to finally pick up that sort of slack to head in towards this second game here with stylish fashion. The North Americans here will take down yet another tower. Heading towards the bottom side, but look at the response hitting towards the top side though. There's still Damasha as well as Valley slowly trying to find themselves in towards the top side here. Of course, I do mistake myself. It's not really a Masha, it is the Bruno.
Man, Axis Esports, they recognize the Team Gosu. They like to play this style. Game 1, conservative. Great. Game 2, they were teaming out most of the time. So one of the best ways is to split Team Gosu apart. But Team Gosu, they are not really phased by it. They are willingly trading this. objectives because they're getting more. Economic-wise, they're up 1.3k. And just to slightly mention, after their first 2 flicker, that Team Gosu expanded, they immediately rotated basing to punish Axis Esports over aggression. Scott was way too confident to walk forward, got picked off. Team Gosu right now, they can take this fight.
And Axis Esports need to find a little bit of that sort of a mistake. From the side of Gosu to punish them, but Axis here at least trying to hold themselves all together. 2k goalie not too far off, as we see Axis still trying to actually get them themselves in towards that turtle pit and perhaps secure this still. Evil X trying to lead the way as well, but Paulo trying to zone him up and that will not be any chance at all. We'll get a knock up as well as the wall charge being used.
And the going traffic does come up, but it seems like Team Gosu are already losing members. Oh, with the flicker! We're fine too, but they get the stun onto Kenray, has the damage, flickers it, it picks up the Bruno, and now Team Gosu, they might want to go on the retreat. Basic still chunking out those stuns in the backline, managing to fend up Axis Esports for now. Esports, they got the kill advantage, but Team Gosu got the second turtle.
And wow, Axis Esports, they may not get all too much of that sort of a turtle trade-off there, but look at the team fight. It was executed perfectly in a sense. Look at the position as he's at. He picks off Crazy and immediately flickers for the next kill. Though he is getting chunked up. I can't rate. There was enough backup time from Axis to still do a little bit more of that trade, but that's pretty much well and fine. And Axis Esports found that momentum and they are currently tying things up against Gosu, only having very slight margin of lead.
Yeah, and if your team Gosu right now, one of the best ways to punish Axis Esports is that aggression. We've seen time and time again. Last hit did the same mistake in Series 1. Just now he was long on the Bruno, but the wild charge will come in. Polo not going down just yet. The damage is there. The Numinous Blast actually stuns. They found a target. They can switch their attention onto Scott, and Scott is out. The stun will start right in his tracks. The Guardian barrier not able to block out Polo, but Breezy definitely another stun from Basin. Keeping Rin in place. Long will find one as well as the crowd. 2 kills over to Axis Esports. And Team Gosu, they will be forced to retreat.
Wow, what a bloodbath coming in through the mid lane. And as we see, great dives coming in from all these members of Team Gosu. But that wall by the Grok has already negated Breezy's exit. And look at Evil X right here. He was getting thrown away, which means that Scott was being left outside. And Evil X could only clip out at least one member of Saki Gosu, and they managed to bring him down. So that's definitely some great work. But heading back in towards that sort of the matchup that we see now, Gosu might have lost that sort of a kill lead in that sort of sense, but goal is actually not too far away. There's still time for them to catch up once again. Evil X has purchased that Athena shield and at least have a little bit more tankiness than what he used to have in that early phase. And now this is going to be the turtle here, and Axis Esports wants to actually get a little taste of that. And what could they possibly pull off? Turtle already dropping low, and they're committed to the fight.
Lone coming in from the back, trying to go for the flag, and he will find one immediately. He does flicker, misses that. General will survive, and here comes the glorious pathway from Paulo, the maximum prize onto Long, and Long has to now back up because of basic evil. chasing with that power of nature, not able to find any kill. Actually, a clean disengage from Team Gosu though. They do walk away with the turtle, I believe. Axis Esports will try to push out the tower, but again, another great start on the Scott. Facing was a marksman, is a marksman. Team Gosu defend off Axis Esports.
Clean as a whistle. Team Gosu managed to secure all these turtles without actually risking their lives. And Breezy, as much as we see them having a shaky start in Game 1, Game 2, they look like different monsters in this matchup. Henry being forced to flicker away, but they're still giving a little bit more chase. But Scott will not go into that hot position. So indeed, 2 seconds left before the first Lord will appear towards the lower side of the river. And look at Gosu. Now that they could slowly take their sweet time, reset those waves, and prepare for the next fight. But Axis Esports here are securing this rotation and towards the jungle, and they are trying to block the entry points and looking for the kill over bot side.
They want Kenray dead, and Kenray will try to buy time. The rest of Team Gosu can come to the class. Kenray just going beeline towards the rest of the team, but we will find a kill first. Glorious pathway a bit too late, but Polo will go for the engage. He sounds the Warhorn. Evo is going on top of Jenna, but there is Breezy in the back line. The front line is actually split for Team Gosu, and this is perfect for Team Axis. They're about to collect back in. The Omen, the Channeling Omen is there for basic, but the damage was not enough. And now the Guardian's Barrier will find the goal. Evil X will make sure Team Gosu goes down, and Axis Esports find 3.
That was a huge swing, and Axis Esports now looking to secure that mid lane tower, and they have absolute control towards the bottom side as well. They can take this one down without any sort of a hassle, and Rid has already got that concentrated energy as well. So maybe after this, they will set up a bait in towards that corner of the river, and it's Team Gosu to make a move.
And if you are the front line of the team, you have to remember the core are your priority. Sure, you want to control the enemy cores, but Breezy and Polo, they were accessing the back line while their own cores were exposed to Axis Esports. And now they're gonna try again. Evil X being that front line, being that guardian for Axis Esports. Scott does dodge a bullet right there, and now Long will try to turn it around. Breezy with the Guardian's Borrow will try to block it out, and he will do so. So the Lord will be disengaged by Axis Esports. Team Gosu still managing to fend off that attempt.
Now waiting. For a little bit of that sort of a reset, heading towards the top side here. They want to shove in all those ways before going for any sort of that Lord attempt. They even send one member off from the side of Axis to actually take down Lord while they're at it, and Evil X has already spot out. Apollo for general as well, so it won't be any sort of that full commitment coming from either Gosu or even Axis. But look at Luke though. Already bringing it down to 60%, and now Gosu has responded it out, and it will be a little bit of a reset.
Glorious pathway does keep Polo alive for now, but it seems like Riz could jump in, not gonna find the kill, and eventually does actually Breezy. Now not even then, doing the blast only onto the valley, the flicker from was perfect, and the rest of Axis Esports goes for the collab. 1, 2, 3, 4 team goes to fall like dominoes, and Axis Esports, they might not need the Lord for this. One, as Team Malaysia now will look for the inhibitor and possibly the victory as to take down that high ground tower, the